Hey everyone, thank you for sticking around. I hope your heartbeat has come down a little bit since the end of that film. But I am so excited to welcome our very special guests from Goodbye Honey, starting with co-writer and director Max Strand.
Hello.
Todd Rawiszer, co-writer, producer, as well as director of photography.
Hi.
We have Pamela Jane Morgan, actress.
Hello, everyone.
And then finally, Juliette Gobin, actress.
Hi.
So this is a little different. I don't know if you guys, have you guys done a Q&A yet for this film as a whole unit? All right,
Yes.
cool.
Yeah.
It'll be a little different. I'll be the sole one asking the questions. But I've thought of a lot of them, and even reading your cover letter for this film, there's a story behind that. But first, I want to ask the two co-writers. So you're writing this film, but it's about two women. Why?
Thanks. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, when we first started writing the movie, it wasn't necessarily about two women. The more that we dove into the writing process and bounced ideas off each other, the more, we realized what a great opportunity it is to show two badass women in a movie. So once we kind of figured out that dynamic was working, we really just leaned into it. And yeah, we the more we started talking about it, the more we loved it, and I couldn't be happier with it.
So which character changed first, would you say? The truck driver or the kidnappee?
Yeah. Todd?
Yeah. At first, Dawn's role was actually Nate. And then, Max actually had the idea, which was fantastic, to switch the characters to be a female. Because at first we were getting into, is there going to be this chemistry and like a love relationship? And then we were like toying with that. And then the idea of making it more of a maternal thing just felt like this is where the direction of the movie's going. And we don't need another lead male star taking over the movie, and then also, it just seemed like this is where everything's fitting into place. And we're so happy with how it came out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, for such a taut, pretty lean, quick runtime thriller, there's a lot of backstory and depth to all the characters. Was that always there as well when writing their backgrounds, or did that kind of naturally develop?
I think that before we started doing anything, I think, Todd and I wanted to get to know the characters. So we did develop this big backstory for, both Dawn and Phoebe. And I think that just kind of throughout the writing process, we had all that stored. We knew who they were, where they're from, their past relationships. And I think that just helped us, writing scenes and, when we need to figure out how we're going to connect the characters, how we're going to, what dialogue we're going to write. And having already done that work really helped us in the writing process.
And did you guys find it difficult once you had these characters established? Because there's a lot of plot elements too happening. There's like the point A to point B to point C. Did that change a lot? Was it always like a cell phone being lost, or was it always this kind of puzzle you had to like figure out?
Oh, it was definitely a huge puzzle. I mean, there were so many different drafts over the course of over a year. It's so fun and crazy to see how the script evolved from, oh my God, I mean, what we had in the beginning and the middle, and then all the way up until like a month before where it is. And, obviously, like I said before, just so happy with where everything ended up. But there was definitely a lot of different options all the way up until, we had one version where there was a chainsaw on the back of the truck and we were like ripping through the truck and there was like, fire, and oh my God, it was pretty intense. I mean, there was actually multiple versions where the character of Phoebe was shot at the end and didn't make it. But yeah, there's definitely lots of different versions. Max, please feel free to.
Yeah, and just to follow up, like you said, it was very, plot point driven, and that was really the priority of the movie. Was we wanted it to be 90 minutes and just nonstop. We wanted, heartbeat racing the entire time, edge of your seat the entire time. So like we knew we wanted to keep it really moving as fast as we could.
And now for the actors. Pamela, what was it like when you first read the part for Dawn?
You mean my audition?
You were the type of person being casted as the lead in a thriller? Because I feel like it's not non-traditional, and that's one of the most refreshing parts of the movie.
Well, actually, a thriller for me, I really don't know if I've done a thriller before, but the genre for me as an audience member has always been, high on my list.
Mm-hmm.
And when I got the sides for the audition, I was kind of taken aback with how tough this woman is, because the scene that I did for my audition was after I had the encounter with the two boys outside the truck. And then I come in and tell her everything's okay. And that's when she says, yeah, no, that's not, who kidnapped me. And then, Dawn just blows up. That was a great release for me. That was honestly probably one of the best auditions I've ever given. And it was so visceral. It just came from, within. I didn't have to stylize it in any way. That was just a supernatural reaction for me. And I fell in love with the character right then and there. And then once I was cast and they gave me a working copy of the script, I was like, oh, this woman is she's a badass.
Yeah.
But and the guys used the term maternal in earlier on. She is. I mean, she's a mom herself. I mean, that's why she took over her husband's business, because she needed to put food on the table for her and her daughter after her husband's demise. So you can see that developing between her and Phoebe, especially once Phoebe tells her the complete story of what she went through. So it's a great character. So well written.
No, it really is. I mean, there could be sequels in the works, guys.
Woo!
Yeah. Instead of a bat, this time she's got a shotgun or a chainsaw.
And I do know how to operate a shotgun, guys.
There you
Just
go.
saying.
Now, Juliette, what for you? What was your reaction when you first read the part?
I say this with a lot of love, but the first audition for me is the sort of audition, because it was a very high, emotionally intense scene. Mm-hmm. So obviously it's my job, so I will take any audition of stuff. But when I get like, oh, the first impression that these people are going to get, I need to be incredibly intense. It was terrifying, honestly, because, usually I'm like, okay, they can warm up to me a little. And it's like, no, the very first audition was like I needed to be scared out of my mind, which I kind of am throughout a lot of the film. But and what was really helpful was that I don't think that I necessarily, the first take of my audition was like I was there emotionally right away. But I remember getting feedback from I don't know if it was Max and Todd or if it was both of y'all, just kind of like taking it out of me a little more. And so then after the second try of the audition, like I'm just grateful that they sat there and were like, okay, get a little, like a little bit more, a little bit more. And then, by the end I walked out of the room and I was like, holy, am I allowed to say crap? Yeah. Holy crap. Like that was intense, and then I realized that, that was what the scene was supposed to be. But I can't say for sure that I like walked in there and was like, I am full intensity right now. I definitely think that like, I remember in the audition that y'all gave me feedback and then I got to do it again. And that's when the high intensity came in.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like even though, you said you're at a high level the entire time, you still have the nuance. There's still a dynamic like up and down to it. That's really good.
Well, and that's where the backstory, I think, also helps, because it's like, I really get like on the days where we were shooting some of the backstory stuff, so some of the stuff where my character Phoebe's actually younger, I kind of got to explore Phoebe's like chillin' 16-year-old self, as opposed to like I've just been kidnapped sort of urgency, which also is just a treat as an actor to be able to also see your character, not just imagine your character at different ages, but also get to play them for the actual product.
Yeah, I mean, you were just a peer pressuring young woman.
The usual.
Yeah. Now, I alluded to it a little bit earlier, I mean, in the intro to this conversation, but your guys' kind of director statement cover letter really blew me away, because this is a independent film with a capital I. Can you talk about, whatever you mentioned, any kind of anecdotes about it, but one that really stuck out was your main set piece. I mean, the best way to make an independent film is just to pretty much have one location, one place, and it's a big truck. Now, is that out of the story's sake or out of budget's sake, would you say?
Well, when Todd and I have been making films together since freshman year of college. It's been our dream to make a feature film, and right away, before we wrote the script, he said, we're going to make this movie no matter if we had, $1 or $1 million. Like, this is the movie we're going to make together. So, we definitely wrote it economically. Yeah, and like you said, like a lot of stuff in our cover letter, like, shout out to our cast and crew because it was not ideal conditions. Pam and Jules could tell you more about that. But, we were shooting, like you said, our main set piece was our truck, and we bartered for it. We made the truck company a commercial. We shot at a camp. We made the camp a commercial so we could stay there and shoot there. And yeah, a lot of great adventures overnight in the middle of winter in rural Pennsylvania.
Yeah, I mean, was it creepy at all for you guys?
Definitely. Yeah. When it was dark, when the sun set, it wasn't dark. It was like pitch black. Yeah. My flashlight died at one point, and I didn't know if I was gonna find my way back.
We had bear sightings.
Yeah.
I unfortunately didn't get to see one, but a lot of people had bear sightings.
Yeah.
And that's really where the title "Goodbye Honey" comes from.
Touche.
Sorry, I can't laugh at my own self. That was bad. But yeah, speaking of shooting at night, for being a DP, the lighting was impeccable, but was it pretty difficult to have a majority of your film be what's supposed to be essentially like a pitch black setting, but it was very stylish, but natural at the same time. Like, you accept the world that you established with the lighting.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like when you ask people like the first things about making an independent film, the first thing I heard from everyone I spoke to was, whatever you do, don't shoot night exteriors. And I said, okay, well, what do I do if we, all we're shooting is night exteriors? So definitely, shot ourselves in the foot there. But yeah, it was like every single time we pointed the camera anywhere, it was pitch dark, and it was just, we had to craft everything, and it was quite the process. And then talk about independent with a capital I. We lit the majority of the movie with street lights we bought off of like eBay from China, and I had to like rig them in this very interesting way to make it work for the movie, and they were very, very bright. And then as far as the coloring goes, that was a conversation that Max and I had early on, where we'd seen so many movies where it's just always the typical blue moonlight, and it was boring. And I think we wanted to find some fun way to switch it up, and we were heavily influenced by movies like Good Time, where in any Safdie brothers film, or in any which way possible, they just somehow added beautiful color into the film. And we were looking for, excuses like that, like making moonlight green and stuff like that. So yeah, between the two of us, it was really fun.
And then, so that was some preparation for the tech side. With the two of you for the actors, did you guys meet in advance? Did you kind of get a chemistry thing going?
No.
Which
is kind of fun because our characters meet in the film.
Yeah.
But no, we met
the first day of shooting when Jules
evening of.
Yeah, Jules had just come off a plane back from France. So she was like all jet lagged, and here we are starting to shoot at like, midnight, and that's how we met.
Yeah. They someone came to pick me up from the airport like immediately, and then just drove me straight to camp, which I felt very grateful for. But yeah, I had just planned this. My family's from France, so I had planned this trip to go see them forever, and then I got the part, and I was like, oh shoot, how do I do both of these things?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like extreme method acting, not knowing each other.
Yeah. I mean, thankfully, I had the opportunity to work with Paul, Jake, and Rafe, because we had to do. We had a stunt coordinator, a fight coordinator who that was all very highly choreographed. So I did get to work with them. Thank God, because once we put that on its legs inside the truck, Paul and I, that was a challenge, with all of the set pieces but now I can say that I did that, put that on my resume.
Now, so would you say that the final product is kind of the shooting script, or did it, is there key scenes that you guys shot, maybe the actors that you really wish had still been in? you're holding a grudge against these guys?
I feel like there's only one scene we cut, and yeah, just from when Jules gets out of the back of the car, we had her running through the woods for a while in like a very stylized way, and you know, time permitting, it was just the one thing we couldn't get, and we're fine without it. Max, anything else?
Yeah, I think, you know, I think for the most part, and which is kind of amazing, it really is the shooting script. Of course, like, you know, in any independent film, like Todd and I were kind of sometimes writing as we were shooting. We shot this movie in two big chunks, and we have a, you know, from the first chunk of shooting to the second chunk, Todd and I wrote a whole new first scene. So like it wasn't exactly how it was when each of them first got the script. But yeah, for the most part, it is a shooting script.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Now, I could see, were there any deliberations about that opening scene? I mean, technically, it's really impressive. That whole kind of long take with the woman in the basement. But it also introduces kind of the danger element, which is not always traditional for a thriller. A lot of times you're building up to it, but this kind of starts there. What was the reasoning behind that?
Well, I feel like we wrote Cass as kind of like this interesting, I'd like to think, character where he's not your typical like running around with a knife, crazy, you know, like you know, typical horror-esque guy. But you know, he's kind of like this like, you know, neighbor who's more timid kind of guy who eventually just gets set off, and then, you know, his life kind of spirals out of control, and he is, you know, we want him to be very real. But with that in mind, you know, we did want to show that he is someone to fear in the beginning of the movie. We just needed to give like a little bit of a sample with that. And then also I feel like from my basic, you know, learning how to write, I was taught in situations like this. And I felt like for our movie, we really wanted to start with a bang. Mm-hmm. And yeah, Max and I went into, that's my basement we shot in, and it was filled to the brim. We got everything out of there. And we choreographed the whole thing beat by beat, and we shot it on my cell phone. I have it on my phone right now as Max as Peyton, our actress, like running around the place. So it's pretty funny to see Max doing the entire scene and then seeing how now it looks. It's very similar, except, you know, we lit it and shot on a nice camera.
I would pay good money for that scene of
Yeah, me too.
Text you later.
So where has the film been so far? It's still fairly new on the festival circuit, if you will, especially with this year the way it is. What have you guys done so far with it, and what's the future of it?
Yeah, we premiered at Dances with Films, and then we did, let's see, we have Nightmares Film Festival coming up. We have the New York City Film Festival coming up. We did the New Orleans Horror Film Festival, which Pam won Best Actress for. And I also will say Jules is up for Best Actor in Nightmares.
Nice.
And then let's see, and you know, we've been loving the virtual festival circuit. It's been so much fun, and we hope to play more festivals, and then hopefully, you know, we could catch Goodbye Honey on a TV near you, hopefully sooner rather than later.
Yeah, definitely watch it on a TV, guys, for everyone out there when you're telling your friends, not on your phone. But you can do it if you want. Yeah, and besides that, I mean, what's the future for you individually, creatively? So with the actors, with Pamela and Juliette, do you have any projects in the works? Or is there any other films on the circuit right now?
I have a project that's going to be hitting the circuit. It's a short film called Blood Brothers. So that's coming up. I think another short that I'm in, Meet the Author, might still be. And Storm Chaser, which is another short, is, oh my God, it's just all over the place. What a great film. And I'm going to be in a movie, Coda, which was directed by Sean Hayter, who did a lot of directing and writing for Orange is the New Black. That's a feature-length film that'll be coming out, I think, within the next 6 months.
Awesome.
Yeah. And I did a voice role for John and the Hole, which is actually a selection at Cannes this year. So,
wow.
Yeah.
I have actually, before this came out, a short film that I co-starred in, premiered at Tribeca. It's called Look at Me. It was part of the short film selection, directed by Nika Fekmu. And And then currently I'm working on a project that is currently unnamed. It's really, really new. So I'm still talking with people in the past 2 weeks, but I am also applying to acting conservatories as we speak. And my first deadline is in 10 days. And I'm in the midst of writing my essays, which I haven't done in years. So that is kind of taking up a lot of my brain space at the moment.
And then for the two of you, for the guys, is your next film, say, I mean, I know you probably don't want to talk about your next film too soon, but would you stay in the genre, you think, or are you going to branch out?
You know, that's a good question. Of course, this movie, we would love to it be the catalyst for, the next movie. So that's definitely the goal. I think we did so many great things with Goodbye Honey that I would love to, utilize everything we learned on it and, make something, that much better. So I think probably maybe in the same vein.
Yeah, I think we're both just trying to figure out what the next script is. So I think we're pretty open, but I don't think we have to be stuck to thrillers. Yeah, even though this was a real fun ride.
All right, well, great. Well, Pamela, Juliette, Todd, Max, thank you so much. Thank you for making this movie and spending your time with us today.
Thank you, Trey.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Pleasure.
Bye.